Evening, fellow autists. Tonight I'm going to show you how to use a modern sim racing steering wheel setup on classic PlayStation 1 games, including Gran Turismo 1, Gran Turismo 2, and basically any racing game you can think of that came out for the PS1. Obviously, because we're doing this on a Windows-based PC, you need ePSXe version 2.0.5. You need to get it all up and running and all that shit. And I'm going to presume you guys have already done that, and you're like, holy fuck, you can play GT on your PC with a steering wheel? Yes, you can. Let's get into it. So Namco released this bizarre controller back in the PS1's heyday called the Nijicon, and it's basically this weird twisty controller that
Responds
has
to
a bunch
us
of different
where
analog
Trump chips in
axes.
wrong.
And what you do is you get a plugin for this controller, and you just map a
I
bunch of the
saw them.
wheel
They don't
axes
look.
to
They
it,
don't look.
and then you just fine tune the sensitivity of the steering input. Either in the actual in-game calibration screen, or you just use like your Logitech profiler and fuck with the wheel rotation a bit. All this info is thanks to a guy named Motorbreath over at the Next Generation Emulation Forums. He put this all together. He figured all this shit out. I'm simply repackaging it to you so you can watch it on the shit and be like, oh, that looks really easy, and you can go and do it yourself and play a bunch of Gran Turismo tonight. So basically what you want to do, you want to go to the link in the description below, and you want to download the Pad GN Nico plugin. You download this RAR file, you extract it to your ePSXe 205 plugins directory, you just leave all the files loose in there. After that's done, you boot up ePSXe 205, you go config, plugins, pad 1, and under the select input plugin, you select pad GN Nico, and you just press configure. So from here on out, it's a really standard config screen, and Motorbreath has done a really nice job of labeling everything for us. So check off twist, and then just click the various buttons. Click, twist left, steer your wheel to the left, pick axis X minus, steer to the right, pick axis X plus. Your D-pad is on the left side where he's labeled as menu. My D-pad, for whatever reason, on my G29 didn't register, so I had to use like the face buttons, like square, cross, circle, triangle. You can reassign everything in game, so don't worry about it. Just map something. Brakes, map as your brake pedal. Acceleration, map as your gas pedal. Start button, map as whatever you use for start. For me, it's options. And then what you can do is you can uncheck twist, you can check digital, you can map the other buttons, for example, shift up and down, like your paddles. He's got them as button 7, which is L1, and button 6, which is R1. Those are your shift buttons if you want to run manual transmission. And from there on out, before you exit this configuration screen, get all your buttons dialed in, uncheck digital, check twist, hit OK. Next step, obviously, go into your Logitech profiler, your Fanatic profiler, your Thrustmaster profiler, create a profile for ePSXe 205, set the rotation, I don't know, like 270 or 330, because let's be honest, we're from the future. We have 900-degree wheels, and they didn't. From that point, you're pretty much done, so you can just boot the game. One thing you got to remember, gas will always act as cross in the menus, and brake will always act as circle in the menus. So to confirm a menu option, you got to press the gas. To back out of a menu, you got to press the brake. It's kind of like being in the arcade back in the 90s, but whatever, it's a small price to pay. Anyway, next step should obviously be go to the options menu, sign Gran Turismo, go to your controller button layout, and it doesn't really matter what you set your buttons to in the profiler because you can reassign everything. Gran Turismo is really good like that. So you can assign, let's say if your shift buttons got fucked up, you can set them properly here. So if you did everything right up to this point, if you checked off twist, if you unchecked digital before booting the game in that plugin menu that I showed you, uh, what you can do now is you can tab over to the analog controller configuration screen inside Gran Turismo, which this is basically just a PC sim racing calibration screen. So you can do your steer left, press R, steer right, press R, and it'll unlock all of these different calibration settings that we're used to seeing in something like Assetto Corsa, where there's dead zones you can adjust, and you can adjust min rate and max rate steering. You can adjust your steering offset. Fiddle with these and a combination of wheel rotation settings in your Logitech, your Thrustmaster, Fanatic profile. Maybe add like a cunt hair of centering spring just so there's at least some tension on the wheel and it doesn't feel sloppy on you. And you're done. That is how you play GT with a wheel. I did a bunch of test laps for filming this. It 100% works. It's awesome. This game drives absurdly good for a late 90s PS1 game, and you guys are going to have so much fun with this.